Hey guys, so I just got back from the theater from seeing another double feature. Two in this weekend that I've officially did. Two double features in one weekend. And yeah, I'm pretty much done with that for this week. Until next week. There's a bunch of re releases that are coming out. That are out right now, like Jaws, which I wouldn't mind seeing Jaws in the theaters, like Empire Strikes Back. I don't need to review those, obviously, because here's my review for both those. They're fucking awesome. But yeah, because of the situation, like, normally I would probably go maybe see some of these re-releases since I could go see them for free. But because we're in a pandemic, I probably should not be at the theater as much as I am, especially even seeing double features. I think it's a good idea. Just limit how many times I go. But anyways, before I want to mention, if I at any point seem like I'm kind of wincing or having to move around a lot, I am currently in a lot of pain. I sprained my ankle between both movies. I was walking off the curb and sprained it really fucking really badly. It hurts like hell right now. I didn't break anything. It's probably because I maybe God's punishing me for wearing this T-shirt that says I don't have it, or my "Y'all Need Jesus" T-shirt, and the fact that I was making fun of the first movie I did. He probably was mad at me. I don't know. So that was my punishment. Maybe that was, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, let's talk about the movies. Tulsa was the first movie I saw. I am sure there are pretty much a majority, 100% of people watching this review going, I have no idea what the fuck Tulsa is. I didn't either, and apparently not a lot of people do either. I'm not the only one, and because when I went to look this movie up, there's not even a Wikipedia page. There is an IMDb page. When you even fucking Google this movie, it takes you right to the old 50s musical, not this movie. You have to fucking dig through the Google searches to find it. And then you go on Rotten Tomatoes, there's not even a review for this fucking thing. Critics review anything nowadays. There's not one single review. I might be the first person to review this fucking movie, even on YouTube. And I looked this movie up, and like the trailers didn't look very good. The trailers were badly done. Like some of that sound was like the sound of the actors was lower than the music of the fucking trailers, and sometimes I couldn't hear what they were saying in the trailers because of the fucking music. It's one of those badly edited trailers, and it looked like a movie that pretty much gave away its whole fucking plot in the trailer. From what I gathered, it was like a religious movie, and I was like, okay, I gotta wear my "Y'all Need Jesus" T-shirt because of that. Because I've been. This is the only reason I bought this fucking T-shirt, so I could wear this during like religious movies. And now my life is complete. There you go. As far as the fucking movie goes, this movie is awful. This is a really awful movie. Holy shit, this is an awful movie. Surprisingly, I wasn't the only one in this theater. This was the most crowd I've seen out of all the movies I saw this past weekend. I don't know how, because again, I had never heard of this fucking thing until about a week ago, and apparently not a lot of people have, but apparently a lot of churchgoers, a lot of older people. This is a movie that is so bad, but it is also entertainingly bad. It's one of those rare things that it's almost kind of so bad it's good. And I almost kind of recommend it for that fact, but it's still, I can't recommend people paying money to watch this. Maybe if you get a chance to watch it for free, maybe. That's about it. There are points in this movie I was audibly laughing my ass off during scenes that were not funny, supposed to be funny, but because of like incompetence of this that was going on in the screen that was going on in this movie, I couldn't stop fucking laughing. Okay, this movie is bad as far as acting, writing, directing, producing. Editing, everything is bad about this fucking movie. This is a whole movie I could probably write. I could go hours about talking about how bad. Like, you go by scene, like, what is wrong with this scene? What is wrong with this scene? The worst part of this movie easily is the lead actor in this movie. I swear, I swear not. This is one of the worst actors I've seen in a goddamn long time. He puts Tommy Wiseau to shame. And you know what? Tommy Wiseau, it's an insult to Tommy Wiseau comparing this guy to him. Because Tommy Wiseau at least is memorable and enthusiastic, and he seems like he's trying. This guy looks like he's half a fucking sleep. This guy cannot show a fucking emotions. He says he has the same facial expressions throughout the whole movie, no matter what the scene is. He has the same tone. He has the same inflection. He doesn't emote. I'm screaming at the movie screen, emote, like during like these really emotional pivotal scenes that happen halfway through the fucking movie, and but because he can't emote, I'm fucking dying, laughing my ass off because like how horrible of an actor he is. And he makes it even worse is that this guy, what the hell was his name? Richard? I almost said Richard Pryor. That's not Richard Pryor. Fuck it. Tulsa. Look this up. Listen, Richard Pryor. That's an insult to Richard Pryor. Scott Pryor. Dude, you are not a good actor. And he produced this movie, directed this movie, wrote this movie. I think you get the fucking gist. He is starred in his own fucking movie because apparently he thinks he's a good actor. And there's a fucking scene. This is one of my favorite parts of this movie. I'm not making this all up at all. There's a scene where he's talking to his daughter, and he first is introduced to her, and she's like, "What's your favorite color?" He's like, "Black." She's like, "What's your favorite movie?" He says, "Black Bear." And so when he said that, I thought to myself, Black Bear. I've seen a lot of obscure movies. What the fuck is Black Bear? I'm like, is that a movie they just fucking made up for the fuck of it? But even got to a point where I noticed there was a poster for this movie in the background of this of his garage, and I'm like, is that a real fucking thing? Am I imagining this? So I looked it up. I'm not making what I'm about to say up at all. I looked it up. There is a movie called Black Bear. You know who starred it? Scott Pryor, the guy who started this fucking movie. He wrote, produced, and directed that fucking movie. I cannot make this. I've never seen so much egomaniacal acting in my entire life. Like, I've never seen this before. This is insane. This is like inceptionally. This is like fucking. I can't believe what the hell I was seeing. As far as the plot of this movie it goes, I didn't really get into the plot. I had to bitch about this guy as an actor. The plot of this movie is Scott Pryor is a guy who's a alcoholic Marine who has addicted to pills, I guess, because it just kind of comes and goes when he's addicted to this shit, and alcohol too. He at one point is, and sometimes he's fine, and sometimes he isn't. Like, he can't fucking decide what kind of character he is, and he finds out that he has a daughter, and this little girl who is very religious. She is taken from her foster home because her foster parents are really abusive towards her and her adopted brothers, like this little black boy. And they take him from their foster home, and she tells the children's services person that she knows who her real dad is. It's okay. She knows who her real dad is. And she says, it's like, have you ever talked to him? No. Have you ever, saw him? No. She says, I, 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 know this is, he's my dad because I saw a picture of him in my mom's Bible. I'm not making that fucking up. That's how she figures out that's his dad or dad. I don't know if it isn't really clear what her mom ever did or did not say that he was the dad, but I'll get in that in a minute. More on that in a minute. But so just coincidentally, the children's services girl knows the guy. That's a fucking convenience. And calls him. I'm not making this up. Right when she calls him, he's got a gun and about to fucking blow his brains out. And then he answers the phone and she goes, "You have a kid." And like 2 seconds, and then the next scene, that little kid is moving over to this guy's house who just 2 seconds ago was about to kill himself. And that's obviously not right in the fucking head. Anybody with a fucking half a brain could tell you that. But the little girl goes, "I'm fine with this. I'll be fine, you know. He's my dad, you know." Even though she doesn't know for sure if he is her dad, they have to do DNA tests. She is convinced that is her dad. He could be a complete fucking stranger. But children's services go, "Okay, that's fine." Like, that's how that fucking works. So, there's that. That whole scene, like I said, from him wanting to commit suicide to letting this little girl come into his house and live, like 2 seconds in between each other, is insanity. But it gets worse. It gets fucking worse. Because it becomes like one of those movies where the fucking kid, obviously starts to grow on the main actor of this movie. He starts to care for her, and she's like really religious and trying to have him find Jesus and start reading the Bible, and he's helping her on other different things. And early on in the movie, this is one of the most insane things I've seen the whole fucking in a while. This next sequence was one of the most. This happens like an hour and a half into the movie. This is like a 2-hour movie that just goes on for fucking ever, and this doesn't know when to end. 2 hours into this movie, there's a scene like early on in the movie where the daughter comes in to his house. He goes down to his garage. He pulls open a drawer where he opens an envelope where there's a picture of a sonogram in this envelope. So you, as an audience, obviously assume that's the little girl and that he knew about this little girl the whole time and he just didn't tell her. Well, obviously, as you probably guessed, the little girl finds this envelope in the picture and she gets mad at him. And he explains, "No, that's not you. I did not know about you. That was my son." And she's like, "Oh, I'm having a little brother?" And he's like, "No, he's gone." Then the movie, I'm not making this up, I swear to God this happened in this movie, cuts to like 5 years earlier. And you're introduced to him like 5 years earlier. And like literally just comes out of nowhere. Like never in this movie did it like cut to like 5 years earlier or anything like that ever in this movie. It cuts to 5 years earlier, where his girlfriend at the time comes to him and says, "I'm pregnant," and he explains for dialogue that she's taking some medication because she's kind of fucking crazy, and he goes, "Well, you gotta abort it." He pretty much flat out just says, "I don't want a baby, you abort it." And I'm like, oh Jesus, this is gonna become an abortion movie now. And I did not expect what they fucking did next, because I was like, okay, she's gonna abort it, and then I don't know. What happened next, I did not expect, because right after he tells her that, she goes leaving crying. It cuts to her in her car, taking a bunch of pills, getting out of the car, walking into a lake, and killing herself by drowning. I'm not making that fucking sentence up. And then it cuts to him 5 years later putting a cross down where her car was and fucking as a memorial. 5 years later, it took him 5 years to do this. Because apparently it wasn't until his little girl came to his life that he fucking decided, I care now. And then, like, he goes and breaks down. And he's like, oh, you're a really good dad, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, fine. That was one of the weirdest fucking subplots I've seen come out of nowhere in movie history. But okay, because this movie has to go a half hour longer, the next scene involves the little girl going. This is getting the spoilers. Fuck it. You see the trailers, you know this is going to happen because this trailer is pretty much spoiled us. An hour and a half in this movie. Really, this movie could have ended like fucking maybe hour and 20 minutes in this movie, but they had to add one more subplot in this movie because right after that scene with the suicidal fucking drowning. The little girl's like going off to school and she wants her dad to take her, but he's a little busy. She's like, okay, I'll just go walk to school. And he goes, well, don't look both ways. Obviously, you gotta look both ways. I'm like, I know where this is going. And guess where it fucking goes? She gets hit by a bus. Yeah, she gets hit by a bus. And it's one of the worst scenes in the whole movie because it's so badly edited that you almost can't tell what the fuck how that happened almost sometimes, how badly edited it is. And I'm just saying, like, of course. And she has a hematoma or something like that in her brain. And so that becomes the plot of the movie, and it becomes that, and it becomes a sappy movie where it becomes unintentionally funny because the doctor's telling him about the hematoma. And he's just going, yeah, okay, doctor, thank you. Like, dude, your daughter's in a fucking coma. You fucking asshole. Show emotion, you dickhead. I'm like, god damn it. I'm laughing my ass off. Like, how angry I'm getting at this dude. I'm like, this is like, it's bad. Like, the little girl, the doctor cracks me up at one point. He just starts laughing. Like, he's like, she's recovered, but she's still like got some swelling, and she's not gonna be okay. I'm like, what are you laughing about? Man, I don't even want to get into the ending because that even fucking pisses me off even more. Because there's like a final reveal that made this whole movie fucking pointless. I sat here for 2 hours for nothing. I'm like, fuck you. It's like, maybe go, fuck you. I was like, I ripped off my mask and went, what? In the middle of the movie theater when this big final reveal at the end of the movie. I'm not going to reveal it, but you have to find out. If you ask me in the comments, I'll tell you, but it fucking pissed me off. But, so they had to throw, like, I guess a Shyamalan twist at the end of the movie. But, yeah, this movie was fucking bad, man. I don't know how many people know about this movie. And, like, I was waiting to see, like, a really bad religious movie, and this is the first one I did. I saw, like, Overcomer, and it was okay. I Still Believe in That was okay. I remember The Case for Christ being pretty bad, but that was compared to this was just bad. I thought that was stupid. This just was entertaining. Like, this wasn't offensively bad, it was just entertainingly bad. If this doesn't make my worst year of the year list, I will be surprised. I just should tell you how bad. Like, I like this better than Infamous. I like this better than The Turning. Even though The Turning was enjoyable for the most part till the last 5 minutes. Probably the last minute or 2 minutes. Infamous was fucking terrible. Nothing about that movie was redeemable whatsoever. Man, but this movie was funny as hell. Like, if you want to see how not to make a movie, this should be taught in fucking class, in film classes. It's one of those kinds of movies. How the hell did this movie get into theaters? I have no idea. Like, who did this guy screw? I don't know, but I want to know. Yeah. I kind of do and don't recommend this movie if you want to see it for curiosity. This was the most fun I've had in reviewing a movie in a while. Talking about this fucking movie. Trailers? I did get one new trailer. One thing I will say about this pandemic, the best thing that happened to the theaters maybe was the pandemic, because I only get like very little previews in front of the movies now. Like literally, movies started 10 minutes after what the supposed runtime was, or showtime was supposed to be. It used to be like 30 fucking minutes. So this is a fucking vast improvement. Trailers. Fatima? Is that how to say it? That's the. It's a movie about. It's based off of supposedly a true story, I guess, or the story of this little girl back in the olden days, who's like a shepherd, sees the Virgin Mary come to her and her cousins, and she wants them to pass along a message to other villagers or something like that. Nobody believes her. The Catholic Church doesn't believe them. All yada yada yada, and they're persecuted. Yada yada yada. It doesn't look bad. It looked alright. Didn't look like it's obviously a movie that the audience that this movie attracted would probably go see. So yeah, it did look alright. It didn't look that bad. That's as far as trailers. I have one more review to do, and until then, I will talk to you guys later.